Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. It's great to have you on the channel today. We're going to be looking at Tropical Storm Jerry. This is going to become a hurricane. It will affect the Northeast Caribbean islands and potentially some impacts in Bermuda as well. We'll get into all the details. We have some weird low pressure systems riding up along the U.S. East Coast. Also another system here out in the Bay of Campeche. We're going to be looking out the rest of the tropics here. We'll look at the rest of the tropics, see if there's anything out there the rest of October from the MDR, Caribbean, Gulf, and up the U.S. East Coast. Let's get into it. And here is the infrared satellite view of Tropical Storm Jerry. Look at this big explosion of showers and thunderstorms right around the center here, especially right on the southern edge. This is looking like a very, very well-developed system, and it will likely be a hurricane in the next day or two. Here it is with respect to the Lesser Antilles and Leeward Islands. So looking at the GFS here, and then I'll flip over in a couple minutes here to the European model. So here is Jerry. Jerry is going to be becoming a hurricane, likely a Category 1 in the next day or two. And you can see here, it's going to be rounding this area of subtropical high pressure out here in the Atlantic. Double barrel high from the Azores, just northeast of Bermuda. And you can see this thing does start to intensify. It's going to get pretty close to St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis here, and down through Guadalupe, Dominica. It's just going to be off to your northeast, but it's going to drag a lot of moisture here through Trinidad, Tobago, all the way up the island chain here. As we stretch through October 10th, you can see this hurricane becoming a Category 2. GFS is a little east of guidance here as this trough really starts to dig into the west. Bermuda is right up here. This would be good news for Bermuda because it would pass well to your east. So there you have it. I'm going to watch something try to form maybe behind this as well. Now, just want to back it up here. We're going to be looking at other areas of concern as well. So here we are. We do have some tropical waves out here in the MDR. It's kind of crazy that we're in the, getting into the first full week of October, and we have tropical wave action out here into the Atlantic. There you have it. We also have tropical wave moving through the central Caribbean here. And look at this, right through Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, through southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, down to Nicaragua and Honduras, through the 14th into the 15th. We're talking about showers and thunderstorms. And some of these could be pretty persistent here. Now, this tropical wave is going to be moving towards the Yucatan Peninsula here. As you can see, as we stretch through October 15th here, you can see this tropical moisture really trying to plume through the Lesser Antilles, as well as a strong tropical wave really starts kicking through. Look at that. That's some hefty tropical downpour. So I think the Caribbean is going to be open for business as far as tropical moisture is concerned, tropical wave action. You can see through October 19th here. Look at this tropical wave bearing down on Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, Barbados here. So watch out. This is October 19th here. You can see the MDR does start to slow down. Still left with showers and thunderstorms. I'm going to show you on the Euro in a minute or two. Things really start to fill in here in the northwestern Caribbean. Now, let's back this up. I want to show you this area of low pressure that tries to form off the southeast coast as we stretch through the 11th here into the 12th. Look at this. This looks more like a nor'easter, but it could acquire some sort of subtropical characteristics as we head into next week. So far, I'm thinking it's going to remain a nor'easter, but there you have it. As we head through the middle of October, I still think we're going to see a chance of some storms. Let's take a look at the Euro. Here we are with the European model, showing you Jerry out here. Yeah, it's going to become a hurricane in the next couple days. As it approaches, it's going to skim by parts of the Northeast Caribbean islands here. You can see the worst of it stays pretty much to the northeast. But there's going to be impacts here in the Virgin Islands, Northern Lesser Antilles. Yeah, so that's going to meet up with a trough to the north here. This is going to get really interesting off the coast of Florida and the Bahamas. MDR out here, yeah, still cranking. This is really bizarre. It's so strange we have not seen any major storms or any storms from the Caribbean to the Gulf. But you can see what happens. These two storms kind of join at the hip here, basically. Look at this East Coast storm, and we have Jerry out here. So this one along the East Coast could maybe try to go subtropical or more nor'easter. We'll keep an eye on it here, but it looks pretty strong at 996 millibars. Look at the MDR out here. It's like it doesn't know that it's October yet. So we'll have to keep an eye on these tropical waves. And the west, especially the northwestern Caribbean Central America through the Bahamas. This is going to drag moisture from the East Coast low all the way northward here, especially mid to late October. And you can see that just continues to inundate. We're also going to have tropical lows that try to form across the northwestern Caribbean. So I do believe there is potential for maybe a storm to form here in the northwestern and north central Caribbean. Look at this. We're going to zoom in on this momentarily here. This is getting very, very interesting. And here we are with the European run. You can see Jerry coming very, very close to the northeast Caribbean islands here. And lots of moisture. Look at our east coast, southeast coast low here, really cranking up as we head on into this weekend right around the 11th and 12th. Look at what it's going to be doing, though. It's going to be dragging north. Tremendous tropical moisture across Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Honduras, Belize, these areas. So, yeah, it's going to be a thing here, even as far east as Haiti and Dominican Republic. And then look at Trinidad Tobago out down here and this big tropical wave. This is a massive tropical wave. These areas are going to need to be watched over the next couple weeks because I still think there could be a chance that a storm may try to form here across the Caribbean. The Gulf is just strange. There's not much happening through this forecast period. Here it is on the October 18th, though. Look at this low pressure trying to form just west of Jamaica and southwest of the Cayman Islands, north of Honduras and Belize here, east of Cancun. We'll keep an eye on it here, but I do believe that something may be trying to form in this area with tremendous tropical downpour. So October is going to be a very warmy month here across, very, very rainy, very wet across the northwestern Caribbean. And look at this. As I said before, the MDR just doesn't want to shut down here. Another big tropical wave moving through the Lesser Antilles. Our last frame here, this does not look like late October. This looks like late August into early September. And thanks to Tropical Tidbits for our intensity scale analysis as here of Jerry. Jerry's likely going right down the middle here. Category 2 seems very achievable. There's some models, though, taking it up towards 3 or 4. We'll keep an eye on it here. And here we are across the North Atlantic. You can see through the Gulf and the Caribbean, we are looking at extremely above average. It is so strange that we have not seen a storm or a hurricane in so long in many of these areas. It's really, really is amazing. And here we go through the Western Caribbean, Central America. You can see this the rest of this week into the weekend's pretty dry for the most part. We do start to get some moistening up here across the Bahamas, here in Jamaica as well. We'll watch with this potential low pressure, this tropical wave. Yeah, things could get really inundated here. This is some serious rainfall totals here. So we're going to be watching it here on the European model as we stretch through the third week of October. Look at some of these areas in Jamaica could get over 125, 135 millimeters. Same for Dominican Republic here, the northwestern part. Rest of Dominican Republic, about 60 to 90 millimeters. Look at Belize here as well, upwards of 200. Some of these areas closer to 300 millimeters. Cayman Islands, you're a bullseye, right around 250 millimeters through the Bahamas as well. And here we are for the Western Caribbean, Central America on the GFS. Yeah, as we head into early next week, the storm moisture surges with these tropical waves. And you can see really through Jamaica, some of these areas upwards 125, 135 inches. Belize, 200 to 300 millimeters. Look at parts of Dominican Republic as well. Some of these areas closer to 250 millimeters. Puerto Rico, you're looking at a solid 3 to 4 inches as well as St. Croix as well. And here we are looking at the Eastern Caribbean. Yeah, there's Jerry doing a recurve, but it's still going to scrape by the northeastern Caribbean islands here, Virgin Islands in particular. We'll be watching totals approach 60 to 100 millimeters in some of these areas, and we'll be watching this system through the Bahamas as well. Puerto Rico, by the time the third week of October comes around, you're kind of in a rain hole here, right around 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. St. Croix, you're getting closer to about 1.5 inches, close to 3 inches on average. And then here into the Eastern Caribbean, you can see what's going to be happening. We have a tropical storm becoming Hurricane Jerry. It's going to become very close here. Outer impacts. Look at this. Lesser Antilles, some areas approaching 250 to 300 millimeters of rainfall. And thanks to Tropical Tidbits for our mid-layer dry air analysis. Jerry will be surrounded by a bit of dry air, you can see, but for the most part, once it reaches later this week, I should say, it should have plenty of moisture to work with. Now, the MDR looks pretty moist out here. The central and northwestern Caribbean does look pretty moist as well, with some potential tropical development. But I do have to be honest with you here. Look at this, right around the October 15-16 quarter, there is a lot of dry air. This is why the Gulf has been shut down for so long. Look at this dry air. You did have a lot of wind shear, leading up to later September and October, which did not help for any tropical development. But I do have to say, we're still looking here into parts of the central Caribbean through the mid to latter part of the month, and also here into the western MDR. All right, going into the overnight into early Wednesday morning, there's going to be a line of convection as we head through 11 p.m. midnight, moving through northeast Ohio, eastern Ohio, western New York, upstate New York, into Pennsylvania there, into northern New England. That's going to really translate to some heavy rain. Look at this. The heaviest moves through the I-81 corridor around 3 a.m., so you're gonna hear it in the middle of the night here. Through the Hudson Valley around 6, so some gusty showers and thunderstorms moving through, even down towards Delmarva area here, all the way through New England. So this will be some beneficial rain, moving just off the coast through 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we do get some lines of convection that do try to fire off Lake Ontario here behind it. But for the most part, look at this. This will push through the Outer Banks, as you can see, right around 5 p.m., 6 p.m., Virginia Beach southeastward here through Wednesday evening. So that's going to be pretty interesting. As we go through time, you can see all this moisture sitting off the East Florida coast. That's going to be a thing as well. And here we are looking at picking up where the future radar left off with the GFS. You can see over the next couple days that system pulls off the East Coast. We get this area of low pressure just trying to form off the coast of Florida and the Carolinas here. Look at this, right around October 11th. I have to tell you, the GFS is a little bit more north with this system as we head through the 12th into the 13th. I'm not sure I'm buying this further north position. As I'll show you in the Euro, it's a bit further south and much more blocking to the north here. This thing's kind of running into an area of high pressure, but you can see this area of low pressure just kind of washes out across southern New England next week, according to the GFS, and then big system moving up through the plains here. But for the most part, we're looking mostly clear here, especially for those fall foliage viewers that want to go out and take a look. Look at this, October 17th, moving through the central Appalachians, and then another system trying to form off the... So it seems like we're seeing a lot of nor'easters really try to explode here just off the coast, and that's right around, 18th and the 19th. And here we are picking up where our future radar left off with the European models. We stretch through Thursday into Friday, high pressure building in along the east here. And look at this, off the coast of Florida. Florida's going to start getting a lot of rain here, and coastal Georgia and South Carolina with this coastal low that really starts to crank up. Look at the Outer Banks come Saturday. I know it's going to be a horribly windy and rainy weekend for you up through the mid-Atlantic here, unfortunately, if you have a long holiday weekend. But look at that. Low pressure really kicking in. You see these isobars here, the wind is going to be a howling stiff east-northeast, and where this rain is falling, it is going to feel really chilly. Now, if you head to the north here where the sun's shining, with this area of high pressure across Quebec, once you get into the sun, it gets up into the 60s. But we're going to see some really chilly conditions here as we see this low just kind of wash out through mid to late portion of next week, and high pressure building in behind it. So if you're getting out there viewing the fall foliage, get out there and enjoy it. Here Sunday, October 19th, though, we get a sharp cold front moving through parts of the eastern Great Lakes. That moves up through parts of New England. High pressure building in behind it here. You can see not much storminess to speak of, although we do have a little bit of convection firing through the lower Great Lakes here right around October 22nd. And here on the European model, total liquid equivalent precipitation amounts, throughout the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast as we stretch through the rest of your Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. And then look what tries to surge up the coast this weekend. Outer Banks, unfortunately, we're going to get into some heavier rain up the coastline here as we head through Monday as well. So there's going to be a big, strong area of low pressure. Could this be subtropical? We'll keep an eye on it here. And here we are, rainfall amounts here on the GFS. You can see very similar to the Euro, although the GFS does push that moisture late weekend into early next week. Further up the coast, you can see we'll be watching it here to see whether the Euro or the GFS is more correct on this, but I'm kind of siding more with the Euro. Look at the GFS, though, showing upwards of 3 to 6 inches of rain up through parts of New Jersey, Long Island here, and up to Boston. So this could be quite some hefty totals. Even the Outer Banks here, 4 to 5 inches of rain, and 6 to 7 down to Wilmington. And before we continue with more weather coverage, don't forget, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments. And don't forget, subscribe, bell notification button if you haven't already. It alerts you with my new updated weather videos. Let's continue with more weather coverage. The NAO Index. All I have to say is we're going extremely negative come later in the month. That could mean extreme storminess along eastern North America into the western Atlantic. And looking at our MJO index, it is coinciding, unfortunately, with the NAO. We're going into stormy conditions into phase 1. And our upper air pattern here on our European run, you can see that trough kicking through the northeast as we head on into Thursday and Friday. We do get this cutoff low across the southeast. Also one across the eastern Great Lakes. This is where things really get interesting come the weekend. This could phase together and produce a massive coastal low for the coastal Carolinas up through the mid-Atlantic into early next week. So we'll keep a very close watch on that. Ridging building in behind it, however. So we'll watch it here, but stormy conditions are likely to ensue. Europeans going a bit more optimistic with more ridging, though, along the U.S. East Coast. And here we go. We're looking out here into the Western Pacific. This is Typhoon Helong here. This storm is going to thankfully be missing Japan. Look at this. This is a Category 4 storm. 140 mile an hour winds. And here we go through Wednesday. It's going to be so eerily close here to Tokyo. Look at this. This is a massive donut-shaped typhoon here. And this is thankfully going to miss Japan. Because, wow, if this was just a couple 100 miles northwest, the Japanese coast would be getting... I mean, don't get me wrong. There's going to be tremendous waves with this and rip currents. It's just going to be dangerous. But the great news is that trough to the north really kicks this thing out. And as we look through the Philippines, we're going to look for the potential maybe of our next storm trying to form along the northern Philippine Islands through October 12th here. You can see it just south of Taiwan. Also another system up towards Seoul, South Korea, providing with some beneficial rain. Japan, though, is really eerily quiet up here. Maybe just a few light showers in the north and the south. But we'll be watching here. There's positive signals that we could see a storm right around Taiwan to the South China Sea, right around Hong Kong. But it doesn't look like it's going to be a typhoon at this point. Out here in the Marshall Islands, we'll be watching this tropical wave very closely as we stretch through the middle of the month, and this one as well. And Western Pacific rainfall totals here. Tropical rains just off the coast of Japan here the next couple days. But you know what? Most of it's missing, just, scraping some coastal areas here. A lot of dry areas here in South China. Philippines, a little bit of rain here for, you're pretty much used to heavier rain than this. But there you go. Much of this rain missing Japan. You'll just see some northern systems through the Korean Peninsula here through Japan. Upwards of, say, 100, 120 millimeters. And your Canadian weather outlook here, we're going to be looking at some storminess around the edges here. British Columbia is actually getting a break. It's mainly southeastern Canada as we head through Wednesday into Thursday. Look at New Brunswick, Nova Scotia here through Newfoundland. High pressure building in behind it. Look at this. Just a snapshot. October 9th here. There's almost no rain except up towards Hudson Bay here. We do get a system moving through Ontario, though. Showers and thunderstorms moving south and east here. So Toronto, London by October 11th here. It's a weakening system. Also some beneficial rain around Alberta here as we stretch through the 11th into the 12th. Look at this, though. This is going to be a massive area of low pressure. Also watching a coastal low along the U.S. East Coast. It may start to crop up around Nova Scotia and southern New Brunswick. And this low around Manitoba, watch out. There could be some wet snow and blizzard conditions potentially on the backside of this. We'll keep an eye on it. Eventually, later next week, this low tries to go up towards portions of the New England and Canadian Maritimes area. We'll keep an eye on it here. Another strong low moving through southern and central Ontario right around the 15th into the 16th through Quebec. So dragging a cold front eastward. It's going to continue to be colder as we get towards mid-October. Canadian rainfall totals here. Southeast Canada really getting hit with that United States system pushing up through. Also, the West Coast taking a breather here. It's mainly going to be northern areas of Alberta up here into parts of the northern territories. That's where we're going to get 40 to 50, maybe 60 millimeters. Through central Ontario, too, as we stretch through the third week of October here. But then things start to moisten up again along the West Coast, upwards of 200-300 millimeters in some of these areas. So watch out. Big story is going to be fall. Look at this. The fall-like temperatures are really going to set up shop from the Midwest, parts of the Ohio Valley, Northeast. This will go down into the 60s, even some upper 50s throughout the northern Midwest here, as fall is really making its presence felt into Thursday. Look at some areas of upstate New York not getting out of the 50s, all the way up through northern New England, 60s throughout the Great Lakes. And look at this. Even Friday here, October 10th, we're starting to warm back up into the 60s. You can see out here in the Midwest, 70s. We're even getting some 60s continuing through the Appalachians here all the way up into northern New England. As we stretch through Sunday, October 12th, yeah, holding on to some nice fall-like. Look at these 80s out here, though, but look what's starting to happen out here in the Rocky Mountains. As we head towards Monday here, October 13th, you can see, look at this. This is a big push. This is going to be pushing across the whole country as we head later on in the month. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's Upper Susquehanna, River, New York, and Pennsylvania. We get the cold front through on Wednesday. Highs only into mid to upper 60s. Winds will be gusting around 15 miles an hour. Maybe a few showers, mainly in the morning, but it will be clearing. We get some frost Thursday morning and Friday morning as well. Look at these daytime highs. This is more average for this time of year, down into the low to mid 60s, some upper 60s as we approach the weekend, but nice sunny skies. Plenty more weather to come. Here is a look at my affiliate. Check out these awesome, amazing maps. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, super thanks. You can smash that super thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks everyone. Share that video, subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button.